1924, Paris. Gurdjieff is on his deathbed after a terrible accident. The doctors said he would die within hours. But then, he reappeared. Exactly as he was before the accident. Without having aged a single day. But wait, that's not even close to being the most shocking part of this story. Because the man who taught Gurdjieff this is still alive. And you're about to find out who he is. In the next 35 minutes, you will witness the encounter that changed the laws of biology for Gurdjieff, the secret method of longevity he never revealed, the photographic proof that scientists cannot explain, the immortal man who still walks among us, and why you might have access to the same knowledge. This photo will blow your mind. Gurdjieff at 30. Gurdjieff at 70. Identical. It's not makeup. It's not a photo trick. It's real. And the explanation will shock you more than the photo itself. It all began in 1922, when Gurdjieff received a letter. A letter from someone who claimed to know the secret of cellular regeneration. The letter had no sender. No origin. But it contained information about Gurdjieff's life that no one else in the world knew. And then, at the end of the letter, there was only one address. And a promise that sounded like madness: if you come, you will discover that death is merely a misinformed choice. 3 days later, Gurdjieff was at an isolated property in the Swiss Alps. A place that, officially, did not exist on any map. The mansion seemed centuries old. But everything was perfectly preserved. As if time had stopped. And then, the door opened. And Gurdjieff saw something that challenged everything he believed about reality. A man who appeared to be 30 years old. But his eyes held centuries of wisdom. The man smiled and said only, "You are late, by about 200 years. But wait, it gets much stranger. Gurdjieff began to notice impossible details. Objects from the 15th century next to 20th century inventions that didn't even publicly exist yet. And then, the man said something that chilled Gurdjieff's blood: "I knew your masters in Egypt. All of them. Personally." Gurdjieff thought, "That's impossible. My masters lived in different eras. Some centuries ago." But then the man began to describe specific encounters. Intimate conversations. Details that Gurdjieff had never told anyone. And that's when Gurdjieff asked the question that would change everything. Who are you?" The man went to a table and picked up several objects. Objects that Gurdjieff recognized instantly. A Roman Empire coin with his fingerprint still fresh. A medieval manuscript in his handwriting. A 19th century photo where he looked exactly as he did now. And then he told the truth. "I am what you would call immortal. Not by magic. By knowledge." But here's the part that will blow your mind. The man revealed that he was not alone. That there were others. A secret society of immortals guiding human evolution for millennia. And Gurdjieff had been chosen to become one of them. The man took Gurdjieff to a room that defied the laws of physics known in 1922. Machines that measured vital frequencies. Devices that mapped what he called the energetic signature of consciousness. And then what Gurdjieff described as the moment that split his life into before and after happened. The man activated one of the machines. And for the first time, Gurdjieff saw his own life energy. Saw how it was deteriorating. Saw how it could be regenerated. But what he discovered about his own mortality will shock you. The immortal revealed that death is not inevitable. It's merely a result of ignorance about how consciousness keeps the body functioning. He showed Gurdjieff that every cell in the body is commanded by consciousness. And that consciousness can be trained to keep cells in a state of perpetual regeneration. Humanity believes that you are born, you live, and you die. This is the greatest illusion of all. You are born, you choose to die out of ignorance, and you call this natural life. And then he gave a demonstration that changed everything. the Immortal took a blade and made a deep cut on his own arm. Blood gushed out abundantly. And then, before Gurdjieff's eyes, the cut began to close. In 30 seconds, there wasn't even a scar left. But that was just the warm-up. In the following hours, the Immortal demonstrated complete control over bodily functions that should be involuntary. He stopped his own heart for 10 minutes. He regenerated a tooth he had lost centuries ago. He changed the color of his own eyes just with intention. And then he offered to teach Gurdjieff all of this. But there was one condition. The Immortal said, "To receive this knowledge, you must disappear from the world for 20 years. Die officially. And be reborn transformed." Gurdjieff would have to abandon everything. His school. His students. His identity. Everything. Gurdjieff accepted. But what he didn't expect was that the disappearance would be literal. 2 days later, the car accident. Gurdjieff almost died for real. And it was at that moment that the Immortal appeared at the hospital. What happened in the next 20 years is the best-kept secret in modern spiritual history. Gurdjieff was taken to a place that doesn't exist on any map. A school of immortals where time works differently. And when he returned, Gurdjieff came back physically identical. But energetically, he was a completely different being. He had acquired abilities that defy scientific explanation. He could heal with a touch, read thoughts, influence reality with intention. But the most shocking thing was his longevity. The evidence is in the photographs. Gurdjieff in 1920. Gurdjieff in 1949, the year of his official death. Identical appearance. Same lines. Same skin. Same energy in the eyes. As if time had stopped for him. His students reported phenomena that defied explanation. Gurdjieff healing terminal illnesses instantly, demonstrating impossible physical strength for his age. There are medical records from 1948 that show Gurdjieff with the cardiovascular health of a 25-year-old man. He was officially 81. And then, in 1949, Gurdjieff died. But here's what no one ever told you about his death. There was no body. There was only a closed casket. And witnesses reported seeing someone identical to him in the hospital gardens on the night of the death. The Immortal man had fulfilled his promise. Gurdjieff had transcended death. The search for immortality continues. Billionaires invest fortunes in longevity research. But they are looking in the wrong place. The secret is not in technology. It's in consciousness. In the method that Gurdjieff learned and never fully revealed. If you want to know the fragments of this knowledge that Gurdjieff left hidden in his teachings, there is much more to discover. Gurdjieff didn't die in 1949. He just changed his address. And maybe he's still out there, waiting for the next candidate for immortality.